is your boy, Dwayne Cofield, host of Drug Dealers to Businessmen. Welcome. And today is October 3rd, man, 2023. Man, welcome to the weekly tap in. I am tapping in. What's good? What's good? Oh, man, what is really good? Life is good, right? Beautiful time. We're alive. We have opportunity in front of us. Even in the midst of whatever you're going through, doesn't matter, right? Because we're all going through something. Everybody goes through something. Even in the midst of whatever you're going through, keep a positive attitude. You have to. Now, sometimes that's the only thing you have, right? And even then, like sometimes the other day I was just like, man, and nothing was going right. Everywhere you looking at, sometimes what's going on, Joe? Appreciate you tapping in and sharing, man. It's all love, homie. I really do appreciate everything. Um, just everything about it, man. It's just, like that day it was just wearing me out, man. I'm like, the hell is going on? And I was like, dude, I can't breathe. I can't. Every time I turn around, the TV is, and it's one of them things when the enemies like kind of got you, like if you ever got jumped when they got you on the ground and they just pounding you out, pow, 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 right, kicking you or whatever. So one of those things, like, damn, right? I can't move. I don't know what to do. And the thing about it is if you've been in one of those situations ever in life, like if there ever been a situation where you're like, man, this is too much. I'm immersed in stuff that I can't solve, things that I can't fix. You know what I'm saying? So what am I, and I'm getting disappointments left and right, or things that I perceive as being disappointments left and right. Man, I mean, if you've ever been in a situation like that, you feel me, right? Where it's just overwhelming. And I started realizing, I'm like, man, this happened before. Right? And if you journal, right? Because I journal. If you journal and it's mainly like people, oh man, the girl's writing diaries, yeah, whatever. But documents, like you're appreciative of historical documents because somebody left something that you can read and oh, this is what they were thinking during that time. So I'm encouraging the homies, man, write this down, man. This is a lot of times too is if you're gonna do a biography, you're gonna have write a story about yourself, you're gonna need notes, right? Because a lot of stuff is gonna be vague. The older you get, you're gonna be like, man, what happened then? You might come up with some ridiculous story, somebody call you a liar. But that's just because we haven't documented a lot of things. And my whole point is when you go back and look at your document, your whatever it is you journaling, you'll find that you've been battle tested before. Right? And that's what this episode is about. When season what's going on, Tanisha? Season 2, season 5, episode number 8, battle tested. So I keep detailed notes of everything that's happened, right? Good and bad. When I have a bad day or when I have a perceived bad day, I'll start to really clarify and justify what I'm saying. When I have a perceived bad day, I'll spend time just writing. Boom. And really because a lot of times you'll make pretty brash decisions in the heat of the moment, right? As you're upset or whatever the case may be, you may make a decision that may cost you a business deal, whatever, a friendship, etc. But the crazy part about it is if you document it as opposed to going to that person or let me just write it down. Let me just put it on paper and go through the motions of venting, because a lot of times too you can't vent to everybody. People will throw it back in your face. I've had that happen. You think you're venting to somebody and somebody throw it right back in your face at the worst time. I didn't need to hear that. You remember when you so the one that doesn't do that is your journal. It does it doesn't get smart. It doesn't throw it back in your face. What it does do is it serves as a um I would say like a safe keep of your heroic comebacks, if that makes sense. Because what happens is once you document whatever happened, whatever the incident was. I remember I documented when I was in when I was in college, child support had taken my bank like my loan money, took my loan money, and my account was negative, and we had rent due, I still had my son, and it was just a big old mess, and I was just writing it down, like, man. And you also at the same time when you're doing this documentation of your life and these heroic moments, you're also talking about how you resolve that issue as well. So a lot of times it may be the same, not necessarily the same situation, but you may be able to lean on some of those same tools that you use to dig yourself out of it if you document it. Because we're going to go through stuff, right? Especially the more you step out on a limb and try new things, man, what? And you in a certain mindset, that's the thing, right? I tell my son all the time, I said, when things are going good, we let our guards down. We don't really look around like, okay, so what could be potentially coming, right? And the enemy just laying in the cut, like, man, I'm about to sock the shit out this cat. And he and bah, and he just catch you. And it's right when you chilling, you might be partying, you drinking, you just kind of kicking back. He just sneak this. Bah. You know what I'm saying? You like, well, damn, where'd that come from? And you're like, man, but sometimes it low key damn near knocks you out. You're like, I wasn't ready for that, man. I was cool. I had all my stuff. Everything was going smooth. I've been talking good. I don't deserve this. No, you don't. But when we look at weights, we look at any type of resistance training, right? Any type, it doesn't matter, right? I went to a parent teacher conference today and they were talking to my kids, okay? And they were like, well, we do adaptive tests. So the better they do, the harder the stuff is going to be. Right. And I was like, why? And it was like, because we have to adapt in order to challenge them, right? And like our stories are all unique and different. So everybody has a different level that they're on, right? So it's really difficult to compare ourselves to this person or that person because we don't know what level they're on, right? We don't know what type of, like, if this is their first or second. Because some people, when it's their first time being battle tested, they ain't ready. Like, damn, I didn't know it was gonna be like, you thought it was gonna be sweet? I saw Dame Dash do a video and he was talking about entrepreneurship. And the first thing he said was, man, you're gonna be an entrepreneur, you about to be broke. He was like, contrary to what people believe, right? They have this delusions of grandeur, like you getting ready to just mega ball as soon as you start your venture. Nah, and I'm the first one to tell you. I was talking to my relatives this weekend. I'm like, man, I got my hands in 5 or 6 cookie jars, dog. And I said, I ain't pulled out a cookie yet. I said, but I'm gonna get one. I might even get one of these whole jars, right? But I have my hands in a lot of them. And that's the thing about, I would say, life, anything that's worthwhile in addition to pursuing your entrepreneurial dreams, right? You're going to be battle tested immediately. And it's going to be something that you've never experienced before. And a lot of times it's going to be something that nobody around you've experienced before. So it's going to be hard for you to bump stuff off of people. They're not going to understand what you're going through. They have no idea. Like, man, I got this. Oh, yeah. Why you got so much stuff? Listen, man. You know what I'm saying? This is just what I'm doing, right? You know what I mean? But you got to be careful of who you even bounce those thoughts off of. This is why I'm so important to have that journal handy, right? Have that stuff so you can just go to it. Let me just bounce it off the universe, because the universe is not going to give me a BS response, answer, whatever, right? Depending on their mood, right? Because everything is conditional now. Everything is conditional and subjective. Depends on their mood, depends on what, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, that's too many factors to consider. But if I focus on my journal and I write it in there, and I got old ones, right? When I was in college, when I first came home, I got my tablets, right? These are all documents in order to keep you going, to show, hey man, you made it through that. That was, you talking about battle tested. What? I didn't know. And that's the thing. Like, you got to dream so big when you at the worst moments of your life. Like, and when it's ugly, get to dreaming for real hard, like real hard, because that's the time. Because if you can do that, then you'll be way more focused. Like, I've been through everything. I mean, literally damn near everything. Seen it all. You know what I'm saying? With the exception of the more wealthy, like super wealthy stuff. But in terms of the grimy shit, yeah, man, I've seen all that. Grew up around it, was in the game for a long time at a young age. So I've been around the rocks, the smokers, the lies, juvenile hall, prison, county jail, raids, robberies, kidnappings, you name it. When you in the game, that stuff comes with it. I ain't no lightweight. I ain't no social security hustler where I'm in the game at the first. Nah, it was a real way of life for me. Like, you know what I'm saying? People underestimate that part. And like I said, we were super young. When we were when Cass was in high school going to prom and stuff, we was on the block. We was in the house getting it off. So we grew up a little bit different. I know me for personally. So like my kids and my wife, they're growing up different. My wife went to prom. She went to, she had the whole thing. Like, man, I was in traffic, like in a real way. You know what I'm saying? So it was a little bit different. So I look at things don't bother me that much, right? Certain things do, and certain things she's really good at handling. So she's been battle tested in other ways. So like that yin and that yang. That's why, having somebody around you that can relate to you in different ways and give you confidence in other ways is good too. You know what I'm saying? They help you. It's better to go to war with somebody than by your damn self. I mean, I ain't saying that you can't do it by yourself. Don't get me wrong. But what I am saying is it's good to do it with somebody else too. And what do you do when you get tested? Right? Do you retreat? Do you stop? Because ultimately that's what it's about, right? It's you can I'll use the weight analogy. You go to the gym, you can stay in these same weights, or you could risk failure, right? In the hundreds. Because most people don't risk failure. They stay in the median or they go down, right? They rarely go, you know what, I'm about to go on here. But why? Because there's so much that could potentially happen that way, right? What can happen? I can fail, right? I can hurt myself. I can stress my muscles out, right? I can drop it and really embarrass myself, right? You have all these different phobias and fears that you kind of create for yourself, right? That stop you from really going into certain battles, right? When we talk about that, oh man, they shooting over there, like, yeah, man, I know it's gonna be hard. How am I gonna get from over here to over there? I don't know. But you got to start walking. Take whatever little rifle you have and start marching, homie, and let the games begin. Because that's what it's really gonna take. You gotta move. You could sit there and plot, man. I think they're over there, man. I think if I shoot over here, I could, man, maybe if I go this way, whatever it is, homie, start walking and get cracking. Walk on whatever get into whatever little battles you need to get into because the faster you get through them, the more experience you'll have. The reason why you see people that are older more even kill and they cool and they got this relaxed like layer about themselves because they've been battle tested. They've seen this before, right? Like I'll talk to some of my students and I'm like, you know what? Some of them, I said, what kind of tragedies you guys went through? Hey, they ain't really seen nothing. They not like that. Like they haven't been, they've got exposed to certain things, but they haven't been tested in a sense. Like COVID was their first test. I'm like, we just about COVID. We didn't had Trump. We didn't had the recession, the 92 drought. I can go on and on about the stuff that we survived, right? You know what I'm saying? Like latchkey kids, damn near burning the kitchen down, right? You name it. You know what I mean? But that's what made us what we were, right? We were smeared to queer cats and playing with no pads. You know, Mitchie Slick talked about that the other day. I heard a song. He was talking about smeared to queer. I was like, my homie, we used to go at it with that, right? In San Diego, it was cracking. But that's what I mean. The more you go through down there, we started off selling dope down in San Diego. Me and my homeboy. I ain't gonna say his name on here. He might be on here anyway. But we're still friends. You know what I'm saying? Like good friends. He was at my wedding and everything. But we started getting it off together down there, and we got hit. I remember he got robbed. I mean, I was probably 11 going on 12. I might have been 12, and he was 14. And we would walk. We came from where I live, which is kind of close, and then we walk over there to the spot and we hang out and wait for FaZe to come through. And the whole time, these grown-ups is plotting on us, right? The whole time. And it was just and you think about those things. So now we move different, right? So when we go to a store or whatever the case, we move a little different than the average bear because of the experiences that we went through, right? And that's the thing. You should look forward to those experiences, right? Bring them on, not the dangerous stuff that we did, but in terms of some of the things that you may see as being somewhat dangerous and risky, right? You got to be that one, right? You got to shoot the dice on yourself, man. I'm about to go try it. I'm about to see what it do, man. I see a lot of people keep posting stuff about this cat in the hot desert who opened up a little clothing shop. And I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. Whatever happens, you're going to get the best experience that you get, right? Because you're going to learn the process. And even if it may blow up, and I wish it would, the thing about it is every experience, every battle is for your good. There's learning all up in that, right? As you go through things, right? Sometimes you need to sit down and go within. And the universe is telling you that when everything is kind of coming on your shoulders and you need to go within and slow down, right? And don't panic. That's another key. Like when it's all coming at the same time, you cannot panic. And everything is giving you all that indication, man. Shit, what the heck? All the stuff. This is where that mindfulness, that internal, um, I don't know, kind of like stoic type, where you understand, right? You get more, you're more even keel with it, right? And that's ultimately then nothing can phase you. Okay, I've seen this before because I was paying attention and I documented. I remember when the enemy used this trick last time when I was in college, man. He threw this in my face. Da, 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 da. What's going on, Samuel? I see you, ATL, in the house. Appreciate that, homeboy. But yeah, then what? You know what I'm saying? You start to document this fool's moves. You start to see him coming again. Oh, man, I seen this. It's like watching tape on football. Oh, let me watch the tape. Let me document it. I've seen this before. I remember this, and he came all at once, and that's and this and that. When I was broke and my account was negative, and da 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 da. And what happened? What was the outcome? Right? And you start to see, like, okay, what was the outcome? Man, I got out of it. It wasn't really like that. Man, I prayed, and man, this miracle came through. Okay, well, shit. If it works, if it ain't broke, try it again. See what happens. Nothing is for your bad that God wouldn't allow it. It's just the reality. But you will get tested in the process. That's the reality too. It's like one of those things like, man, this is the gift, but it's gonna stress you out. It's gonna test you. You're like, damn. So you gotta really rethink it like, damn, am I willing to commit to this? Knowing these things, knowing what's coming with it, knowing and understanding that, hey man, I may damn near lose it in the process. And you hear that in all success stories, right? You hear about these guys on the brink of, damn, bankruptcy was knocking at the door, like, hey, homie, I'm right here. And you make it out of it. And that serves as maybe one of your pivotal chapters in your biography. That may be the peak, the turning point, right? The one that everybody can relate to, like, damn, okay, so I got to go through that. Yeah, you got to go through that. I got a podcast episode called Embrace the Suck. And this is called Embracing the Suck. It's like, I know it's going to suck. Seth Godin has a book called Flinch. It's like, oh, I know it. Like somebody coming with a liver shot, you like, man, I know this is gonna hurt. You just gotta. It's one of those things that's gonna hurt. You're gonna be broke. Like right now, man, we opening a restaurant. We got all these businesses. Man, I ain't never been broke in my life. Everything is everywhere, but in my pocket, right? But I know, and this is the thing. Like I gotta keep reminding myself, like, hey, D, you're making the right move. It's gonna pay off. Like, damn, man, it's almost like when you constantly going to the gym, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you don't see nothing, but you like, man, I know it's gonna pay off. I just know it. That. And you gotta hold on to that because it's gonna be times where you like, man, I don't know, homie. I don't really know if I can hang on, right? Almost like the Vegas bar where they got you the twist, where they put you on the bar and you got to stay on for a minute. It's gonna be times like that. You like, man, it's like a trick. I don't know if I'm gonna really be able to hang on that long. And I'm at that point. My contractor, hey D, I'm like, man, I'm about ready to go get the pots cracking again. Like, okay, let me go back. You know what I'm saying? Just joking, but I'm saying, And that's part of the process. I'm being battle tested. You can't be an entrepreneur. You can't be a business owner if you ain't on the brink of losing it all. How not? You got to gamble. You're like, okay, I could have played it safe. Like, man, you know what? We just going to kick it with these. We going to go and keep going to Maui and shit. I'm like, nah, we can go to Maui, but we can make that a regular thing and get the bigger place once we do this chicken. Right? So you're gonna have to sacrifice on the front end. But at some point, you're gonna have to sacrifice, homie. Period. So you got to give up something, whether it's time, sweat equity, whatever. Like I'm teaching 5 classes right now. I'm burnt out constantly. You know what I'm saying? Where I'm constantly just just in go mode. I teach a class um on uh, on in person. I'm online. I mean, but you know the crazy part about it is I signed up for it and I knew what I was getting into, and that's cool. I'm doing this to open it up. I'm like, man, I know I gotta bust my ass for the next 4 or 5 months. Okay. Embrace the suck. I know it's gonna suck. I know I'm barely gonna hang on. I know all this stuff. But if I get through it, oh, if I get through it, that's it. Right? There's gonna be other battle. I know that it's not the end of the road, right? This is a marathon, homie. We at mile 3. Right? We just sipping water. We like, hey man, where the water at, dog? That's where we at. But we ain't stopping. Nah. You're going, man, believe me, I'll be out there selling tomatoes and fruit and t-shirts by SoFi before I give up. That's the type of hustler I am. I'm built like that, dog. I've already been battle tested. I know what it takes to get out there and make it work. If I'm willing to go out there and sacrifice my life, my freedom for money, I already know what it takes. Period. I've been doing it since I was 12 and 11 years old. I've already took those risks. Already been shooting dice. That's been in my DNA, right? But now I flip that energy, right? We're not necessarily taking a risk in the casino or with the homies shooting dice, right? We're gonna take it on another level. We're gonna take it over here. We're gonna see what we can do over here. And if we don't know, we'll learn. One on Will Smith shit, right? We're gonna learn on the way down. But we jumping though, dog. And we know. Like there's a video of a dude that you guys gotta see it. It's on TikTok right now. Dude where his parachute malfunctions, right? He's supposed to be, or I think it's his parachute or his hang glider, but it malfunctions. This fool, I mean, the mountain is just tearing his ass up. Bah. He just constantly keep bah. And he's like, man, fumbling with it. Bah. And I'm like, that's it. I'm like, that's what it feel like when you first jump. I said, all this other stuff that you see, the floating and it's more like this. You'll get to the other stuff, right? Eventually you'll get there, but it's more like that. Way more accurate, right? Because that's what you're gonna feel like. You know what I'm saying? Going like this, man. He said these parachutes work, man. Shit, this thing ain't bah, bah. You're like, man. But that's what it's gonna. That's what it's gonna feel like. And I can't be more honest with you than that. But you can look up and you can see the people still standing on that ledge. And it's a gang of them, right? It's almost to the point where it's overcrowded because there's so many people that have dreams too, and they keep looking at them. They keep watching them. They keep looking over the edge, like, oh, yeah, it's still there. Yeah, it's still there. It ain't going anywhere. The thing, what it is waiting on your ass to open up your parachute or go through your parachute malfunction like old dude did. Bah, bah, it's damn parachute. It's waiting on you. Like, man, you gonna do something, homie? Or you just gonna sit there? Like Wyatt or Tombstone, you just gonna sit there and bleed? Right? What you gonna do? And like my analogy back, I think I did a whole episode on that talking about God taking your order. The waitress and the waiter is getting impatient with you. You keep talking about what you want to do. You keep saying that. Place the order, taste it, see it, believe it. It is right there. It's tangible, right? If it's a seed planted in you, you have an idea. You have something and it doesn't matter what everybody thinks. It doesn't matter age what. That is a man's construct. People are doing things now that we never thought were possible in at different ages. So you can't. You got to break that limited thought process that I can't, man. I'm a just man. You gonna just right? It was somebody was saying something about talking to older people, and they said one of the things. Oh, the guy working in a nursing home. He was like, "Man, I worked in a nursing home, and like, I just asked people what was their biggest regret, and they were like, man, that I didn't risk it, that I didn't try more shit. That's their biggest regret. That what if? That what if? Think about that. That what if? What if I would have? What if I? What if I tried to? Man, ain't no more what ifs, man. I got the woman of my dreams because I didn't say what if. I said fuck it. Right? And that's what you have to do too. You got to get to a point where you say, man, shit, I got one life. It could either suck bad like it sucks now, or it could suck temporarily, or I might hit. I might hit it. I might actually get whatever it is. I might actually hit. That's the confidence you got to build. And like, okay, but it's gonna suck. I know it. I know it. But that's okay. The risk is greater than I mean, I'm sorry, the reward is greater than the risk. You think you're taking a large risk. You think you're taking, oh man, what are you gambling? It's like even going talking to her. What all she can you already in a no category. All she can do is solidify the no. No, I'm not interested. What if she says, okay, well, hey, take me on a date? You're like, well, shit, right? And that's the same thing about your dream. It could turn around and say, man, well, take me on a date. You're like, oh, word? Okay, well, this is happening. Yes, it's happening. Yes, it's actually happening. It is really taking place. It's really moving forward. You're like, wow, man, that is amazing. But it all starts with a step. You got to step to somebody. You got to step to your dream. You got to step to it and say, what's happening? Are you real? If you feel like it's something in your system, man, are you real? And then you try it. And then you try again. And you don't stop, man. You don't have fives lives. Like, I'm going to take it easy on this one. And then the next one, man, I'm gonna turn it up a little bit. I might try to risk some stuff. And I get it. Most people are risk averse, right? We just naturally like, well, we don't want to take a risk, right? Our minds, the way we're designed, right? We're are designed to, we have the animal instinct to where we're trying to protect ourselves, right? So anytime any sign of a potential danger, we're like, no, right? And uncertainty is danger to us. That's dangerous. Not knowing, I don't know. Which is why they give us trailers and previews. You need to know something. Well, God doesn't work like that. He'll give you your intuition, right? That belief that you know that this is possible, but it's up to you to take it to the next stage, right? All right, God, I'm gonna start working. I know you got it. I know you got your end covered. I ain't even worried about that. Let me start working on mine. And it starts with this one right here. Everything that you see tangible was already somebody's thought process. Bowls, computers, TV screens, you name it, microphones, whatever. Somebody thought about it first. Thought it. So the power of your thought is critical. So making sure that that's right. And what does that have to do with? Your environment, your input, right? Computers can't really function in lava-like conditions, right? Where it's too hot. And they probably can't function also in blizzard-like conditions because it's too cold. And the same thing holds true for you. If you're in conditions to where it's not conducive of thought, it's loud in there. It's a bunch of haters around you, right? People don't have the same thought process. That stuff is noise and distracting. Energy is contagious. So if you're around the wrong type of energy as well, that's going to kind of seep into whatever it is you got going. So make sure to check the energy. Like, hey, homie, yeah, man, you're going to have to dip. Right? And just be honest with cats, man, because your energy is off, killer. I can't, you know what I'm saying? I just, and go to the library, go somewhere where you know they ain't gonna be, and go spend that time. And that book could come to you, the one that you need. It'll slide out the shelves to you, like, phew, like this magical shit really works. It does, right? The power of the mind look at what we have. Why we're flying planes, we're doing all kind of stuff that humans at that time thought was impossible. Impossible, but it's being done because somebody said, I'm stepping to my dream. I don't care what kind of things I have to go through. I'm stepping to my dream. I'm making a move towards it. I'm hollering at her. I don't care what the situation is. This is my chance. The dream is real. Let me make a move. And it doesn't take much, right? It starts with a thought, and then one small decision, right? We've already talked about what 20 minutes a day get you 1% a week. So what did you do? Give your 20%, 20 minutes. Did you design your menu? Right? Did you add your sides? Did you look up a recipe? Did you look up, I don't know, rent? Right? There's all these things that you can do that actually show the universe, man, I'm dead ass serious. I'm getting ready to do this. And you start to do it. You slowly but surely, methodically start to move forward, right? And watch the universe start to provide for you, man. It is buck wild and crazy. But one thing that comes along with that is you can't, man, when the guns and everything, like the battle gets to clicking and clacking, you can't cower. You may have to go within, you may have to pray, but you can't stop. You may have to battle and scrap and do what you got to do in the middle in the meantime, but you can't quit. That's the one condition about being battle tested. Being battle tested is not designed for you to quit. It's designed to be resistant so that you become stronger in the process. That's it. Like I said, it's just like weights, right? You don't get big in the 10s and 20s. You get big when you go down to the heavies, right? You get cut. You're like, okay, so I got to spend more time down here or increase my reps with these smaller weights. Either or, I need to make an adjustment, right? So if I'm more on the 20 minutes, that more on the light weights, right? Or I can go heavy, right? Where I spend one day just dragging it out. I'm going to the library. And you start to develop that habit, right? You may walk to it, right? To develop that habit. And that's the one thing I will say, man. Find your outlets, right? Find the places that you can go think. It's really important to have time to think. I cannot stress that enough, which is why sometimes I feel bad for a lot of cats who don't have time. I'm like, man, that's that one precious commodity, man, that you really, really need because it gives you time to think. Like, what's my next move? Am I going to keep doing this over and over again? What's my long-term play? And start to think about, okay, so let me start to, should I pivot and start to move my direction to the left? Or should I maintain the same lane? I'm cool here. Well, you know how I feel, right? This is strictly on me. You got one. Just keep remembering that. You got one. What'd you do with it? What'd you do with it? And when you look back and you say, man, what did I do? Man, I tried to kick down 10 doors, man. I went so hard, my leg don't even work no more. Right? I'm trying to build legacy for my kid. My dad was into everything. Yeah, you could call him whatever, but he got me going, right? And if that's all I'm doing is to get my kids going or get one of you guys going, that's what I did when I was here. You got to make sure you're doing something. What am I doing? What type of lives am I touching? Through my actions. It don't even have to be where I got to give charity or kick in and what. Your actions say more than anything you could possibly think of. Your actions tell people what you really about, how you moving, right? And you busy all the time. I'm busy. I don't mind telling cats, man, I'm busy, man. I just don't have time. But my time is filled up with things that are going to help us all. I'm learning how to do research projects. Shout out to Dr. Beer. I was just on a call earlier doing research. Like, man, it was a dream of mine. You guys know I've been talking about that. The first thing I did was my own project, but I had to start with my own project. That was my battle. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And I had to write a lot and just kept revision after revision. And I got better at that. Now that's getting in my pipeline. I'm getting more opportunities. God bless it. And if I pursue this PhD, man, half the homies on here should be inspired to do the same thing, or at least know that's an option. That I can do. D wasn't even as smart as me, man. So be it. I'm not. Believe me, I'm not tripping. Right? I'm here for you guys, man. I'm that sacrificial lamb that learns for us. And you should have the same. Well, I know what me and God's covenant is. I know what agreement we got, right? And he got me out of a lot of stuff, and that's not why. It's not a deal where, all right, God, you got me out of that. I'm gonna go to no, 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 no. He knows my intention from the start. I've always been like this, right? But now more so where I see, okay, platform wise, and even if my podcast don't crack like people think it should, it may inspire somebody to do their own and do something completely different and change the game. And I don't need credit. Credit is ego driven. That don't gotta give me every bit of credit I need and then some, right? We look to a lot of times we look to the wrong things and try to use that as fuel, and it doesn't. It takes us like around the corner and it puts out. It's those meaningful things, right? Not even ego, like just I was shocked the other day. One of my students, we was just doing an exercise in class, and like one of my students works for Google. He was a great student in sales. He took me for sales and he took me for another class. Great student. And he works for Google. And I was like, man, I said, word up. That's what I'm talking. And I'm glad he didn't tell me. I don't want to like, I don't, that ain't, I'm not here for that. The guy don't, you know what I'm saying? Like I always tell people, give God the glory, man. If you're gonna give, if you must give it to somebody, that's who deserves the glory, not me, man. I'm not. That's not my. I'm getting away from that. You know what I'm saying? Where I got like because that can be a addictive in the wrong way. Where people, I need notoriety, I need confirmation, I need this and that. That's too much need from other people val- to validate myself, and I don't. I'm like, man, that's a tough way to live. So why don't I let go of that and have zero expectations? Be happy for them winning. What does acknowledging me have to do with anything? Right? We both happy. If our intentions were that, you should be happy you got the job, and I should be happy you got the job. Period. I shouldn't be like, hey man, you want to give me props? That's a trip. That's some bullshit, right? And that's not what I'm on, right? So I'm not even looking like if something happens to any of y'all, man, please talk to get to praying and thank that cat. Don't ever give me that kind of credit. I'm not looking for that. It's not why I'm doing this. It's not why I'm here. And I hope you guys really understand that, right? Like this is something different, way different. Like this is like me and God, like, okay, dog. So you gonna do, yeah, man. All right. And that's what we on, right? Now it wasn't no man, you gonna be huge, you gonna do this. Nah, man. If it's zero people, man, tap in. All right, bet. And that's it. That's really it. You know what I'm saying? And I can't be, I don't have gimmicks. I don't have co-host. That's not what we doing. That's not, God was like, man, do it just like this. And he keep telling me that he ain't like, man, well, get a producer and you need a green screen and have an intro and, nah, man. He's like, man, just you do your intro, you learn, the stuff you learned in the studio from Don Amici. Shout out to my guy Don Amici, who showed me all this stuff, how to take air out and edit and do all this. He used to do it between breaks. Dude was a savage. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I know I'm learning how to do that stuff so I can teach somebody else. I have everything I want. So I'm not greedy to where I like, okay, so like if I'm full, I don't need a plate to take to the house. I'm straight. I'm good, man. That food was gas. It'll happen again. Right? Right? We ain't missing nothing, right? So we shouldn't act like that. So in closing, what do we learn about today? We learned that one, we are going to be battle tested, right? That's a fact. But we need to document our battles, right? We need to write them down so that we can use it as strategic info or intel for our next battle. Because this is a war, and a war consists of battles. It's a war between good and evil. I told you guys that a long time ago. Only thing that devil wants is your mind. And God will give you everything you ever wanted in your life as long as it's to the good. So keep focusing on that, but keep understanding that we are in war and you're going to have battles on a regular basis with this fool. As long as you document it and you understand it and what tools he's using, you'll start to understand how he works. You'll understand when he's applying the pressure. You'll know what to do when the pressure is applied. what moves to make, what moves not to make, right? So keep that energy. Understand though that it's going to happen. Write it down and use it for your future battles and win the ultimate war of your mind. That will conclude the weekly tap in. What am I listening to right now? I'm listening to my restaurant book, man. So I'm still kind of on that right now, which is Restaurant Secrets, and I showed you guys that last time. So I'm listening to that still because we're getting closer to opening. So now I'm really trying to drill down on a lot of procedures and processes that I need to um, kind of write down. My mom's doing the our pamphlet, which is our customer service. So we're locking in a lot of those little intricate details about the business. And like I said, this isn't even for me, right? This is to show people, and then I can teach people the process of opening their own stuff. Man, I'm trying to be valuable. I'm trying to be that Swiss Army knife, man. Man, let me tap in with D. I'm trying to get my Clarence Avon on, right? Where I know enough about enough businesses to, if you need help in something, I got you. All right. Make sure you guys, if you guys have questions or you have suggestions or you need questions answered, put it in the chat or send me an email. All right. Tap it out.